Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the starting 11 prediction. We are backed for the season by Ladbrokes and I am here to predict Jurgen Klopp's side versus Stoke at Anfield in the 12:30 kickoff in the Premier League. The game between the two massive games against Roma in the Champions League semi-final. I had it down as a 3 at the back until about 10 minutes before filming or something like that. And I read a really gutting article about Sadio Mane. He's been spotted at Spire Hospital. We'll do a news show later on this afternoon. I've actually got a special guest with me for the news show, so we'll set that event up soon. But that changed my thinking, and I'm at the moment now where I'm thinking, well, if we rest a load of players and we lose, and then we lose at Chelsea, we're up shit creek. You know, we need 4 points. So I'm just going to go hard. I'm going to go almost full strength. At the weekend, then I'm going almost full strength. Well, I'm going full strength against Roma. And I'll tell you what, here's my starting 11 prediction for Roma, barring injuries. Karius, Trent, Lovren, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Milner, Gini Wijnaldum, Salah, Firmino, Mane. Okay, we've done that. Sound. We don't need to do that next week unless there's some horrendous injuries. For this game, though, I'm going Lloris Karius in nets. I'm going Nathaniel Klein at right back. Dejan Lovren and Virgil van Dijk at centre-half with Andrew Robertson left back. Now, the reason that I'm resting Trent is because he's a young player. I think he can probably play the 3 games in the week. I've got no issues with that. But because he's young, I feel like you do need to rest him a little bit. The reason I'm playing the 2 centre-halves as I am is because I think they're going to come up against Peter Crouch. We're going to come up against 2 centre-forwards, probably midweek against Roma. I want them dealing with those headed opportunities that Stoke are going to try and create. I want the 2 of them well-versed in how to deal with that. And Andrew Robertson, he didn't play for the first sort of third of the season, so I think he's got minutes in his legs still to burn. So I'm comfortable with him playing left-back. And then I'm just going to go, you know what? This is probably stupid, but I'm just going to go with my midfield 3. I'm just going to go Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum and James Milner. And if you get the opportunity to take one of them off during the game because you're 3-0 up or whatever, then do it. And then I'm going to go up top, Mo Salah. I'm going to go Ings, centre-forward, and I'm going to go Bobby Firmino on the left wing. Those little rumours of Sadio Mane going into Spy Hospital put the shits up me, quite frankly, and I'm definitely resting him, so I don't know whether he'll start. You want him back for Roma, you've got to have him back. Substitutes, I think it's going to be Simon Mignolet. I think Joe Gomez hopefully can make the bench. Dom Solanke, Sadio Mane, maybe. Klavan, Moreno. I'm going to throw a little shout in there for Ben Woodburn as well. That's my start 11. I know I've gone incredibly strong and it's probably a little bit mental with Roma on the horizon. What do you guys think of that in the comments section? Tom, have you got me something to go on with to begin with, mate?
Yes, so we've got a super chat from
cool.
56 Landon. Gives us $5. Thank you.
Thank you.
He says, going to school, so I will watch the video when I get back. But he says, Salah, Firmino, Mane, Gini, Henderson, Milner, Robertson, Lovren, Van Dijk and Klein up the Reds.
Is that what I've just done?
Yes.
Wow, get in. Get on you. Well done, sir.
And,
that's boss. The Anfield Lark says 442 legends, and we'll come to you next, Tom. Did you see the 442's video? What people don't realise is we've had so many people tagging us over the last sort of 24 hours since they put it out. That's actually me and Paul singing. We were just about to record the final word show for Roma 5-2 on the redmentv.com, and we just went into the other room and just sang that line for him and sent it over to Dean. He's a legend, he's a mate of ours, and he's including us in another one of his videos, so we feel very privileged to be involved in that. Go on, Tom, where are we going?
Project Saint HOOD says, need kids to make up that midfield for Stoke. Don't want to be chancing our first teamers in that department. Yeah,
you know what, you're right. You are right. I've gone through my reasons, but I'll talk through yours probably, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. Saint? Project Saint. I think Ben Woodburn, if he's got more minutes in his legs this season and he's fit, he could potentially do that. We did see him in this sort of 8 role where Coutinho was playing earlier on in the season, so he's an option in there as well. And then you've got Curtis Jones, who might get some minutes. He might even make the bench for someone like a Mane if he is injured as well. And other than that, there are a few variations of what we can do here. So I'll give you a little example, right? Let's take Joe Gomez there, and then you could move Robertson if you want. You could probably play just the 2 midfielders, something like that, and then maybe go something like a 3-4-3, something like that. I think that's one way that we could work this game out. Otherwise, what you could do is you could play the 4 at the back, which you've been playing all season long, and then actually what you could do, if we had Sadio Mane fit and available to us or not, you know, Sadio Mane would sit in there and you could almost play a 4-2-3-1 with a Roberto Firmino and a Danny Ings or a Dom Solanke up front. The only other thing that I could think you could do is potentially do something like this and just go a little bit 4-2-2-2, which then where you got like almost two DMs in Wijnaldum, Henderson, Salah and Firmino on the wings. Obviously Mane would be there as well, and then maybe Ings and Solanke up front. So there are a few variations of what we can do, and it's what makes it so interesting. It's what makes it so difficult. What formation we're going to play? We're going to play 3 at the back, we're going to play 4 at the back, we're going to play 3 midfielders or 4 midfielders, we're going to play 1 up top, 2 up top. So there are a few different ways that we're going to do this, that we could do this. But as I said, the team that I think is going to go out there is just going to be playing that 4-3-3 in exactly the same way that I've mentioned. So there we go. That's mine. I'm going to have a little quick look there. 6 times, says ZYF3R. Absolutely brilliant. Gabrielle Vela said, wouldn't risk Salah. Here's the thing with the wouldn't risk Salah stuff. And I get you. I probably wouldn't risk Salah either. But what you can remember is this guy's fighting for something. He's fighting for the golden boot. He's fighting for top 4 and he's fighting for Champions League and he wants to score goals and that's what he does. He could be a difference maker early on. Then you could maybe look to pull him off again. But also, let's remember, he had a little bit of a rest compared to the other lads at the weekend, midweek, sorry. So does that mean that because he got subbed early, do you then start him? And I think that might be the way that we do it, because had he played the 90 minutes, I think he gets this game off. But because he didn't play the 90 minutes, I actually think he's going to start. That's my reasoning on it anyway. Whether it's right or not, we'll never know. Andy Cobain 08 says, Klein, starter, play. Yeah, 3 words that I like. Rishi Sonny says Klopp isn't going to play 3 at the back. We've played 3 at the back to see out games this season already. You know, we saw him bring Klavan on later on. And listen, there's a shout for Klavan as the left centre-back and maybe rest one of the others. And if Gomez isn't fit, you could maybe play Lovren, Van Dijk and Klavan in the 3 at the back as well. We know what Roma are going to do against us next week. They're going to put 2 men up top. They're going to be big men. They're going to try and get the balls in there. It could be a little bit of a practice for that, whether we think 3 at the back's better for dealing with 2 big centre-forwards. You get a little bit of practice in the same way that we practice with Everton, with Gini Wijnaldum going into the 6. So all very interesting. Basically, I've got no chance of getting this one right. I'm 2 out of 3 in the last week or so. So I'd like to keep that going, but listen, it is what it is. It's very, very difficult. It's a big game because we need to win this game. We want to qualify for Champions League through the domestic campaign. We want to get into that top 4. We want 3rd. Never mind top 4, like that's what I want anyway. And you know, if there's a chance to get 2nd, I'll take 2nd. I'll take 2nd. And if you know we can't win the league, but next year. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the Redmen TV on YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.